Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
1490 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz, and you're listening to the Financial Survival Network, which is brought to you by Miles Franklin. They've been in business selling gold and silver for over 20 years, and I'm a customer because when you buy, they ship. For more information, find them on the web at milesfranklin.com or give them a call at 800-822-8080 and get a free quote. Do you often get lost when you drive out of your house, even when you're going to the supermarket? Imagine the fun of trying to plot your future course through an economy that appears to be imploding around us, for which there are no guideposts or mile markers. However, now there's a book out by a guy by the name of David Quintieri, The Money GPS, and hopefully it will set your sense of direction straight and help you follow the proper road for financial stability and security. David, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on today.
It's a pleasure. Book is looking really good. I didn't have a chance to read it all because we only lined up this interview a few days ago, but I've digested a good chunk of it. It looks like it's solidly based in Austrian economics and a rejection of this Keynesian paradigm that we find ourselves in. But obviously, you had a reason for writing this book. What is it? What was it?
Well, initially, I just started getting into the whole reading of finance books, and I got to turn towards the Austrian economics without even knowing it. So I'm reading these Austrian economics books and realized the governments are doing some pretty ridiculous things with our tax money, and they're putting themselves into this corner. They lower the interest rates all the way down. They only have one option, and that's to print money. And if they believe they can print money and get out of their problems, well, then they'll be defying history. It's happened over and over and over again. The governments get themselves into a bad position, and they try to print themselves out. It happened back in the Romans and Greeks. They devalued their coins by putting copper in their gold and silver. Eventually, it catches up to them. They can't avoid it. So I wrote this book in hopes that I could wake up people and do it in a very easy way. So I use a lot of diagrams and charts to graphically explain to people, because I'm trying to get to the everyman. And hopefully enough of them will read it.
So you're Joe Six-Pack, or as I call him now, Joe Two-Pack, because he can't afford a six-pack anymore.
That's right, yes.
You go home, if you still have a job, you go home after work, you open up your two-pack, you watch TV, and you're oblivious to everything that you just brought up. The imploding economic system, the decline of the dollar, and so many other alarming trends, because Joe Two-Pack doesn't read the paper. All he knows is the information he gets on television, which tells you that the economy is recovering, everything's going to be fine, don't worry about it. How do you connect with Joe Two-Pack to make him understand that this time, David, is really different?
Well, I would advise them not to pay attention to the short-term noise that they see. If they would just look at the very simple historic examples, Weimar Germany is the most common example that people use. Printing money cannot solve problems. They're trying economic stimulus over and over and over again, yet the economy is not getting any better. They can lie and use their manipulated numbers all they want, but the truth is out there. And if people would just look around and see it with their own eyes, not what you see in the newspapers or in the magazines or on the internet, you have to look at it for yourself. I provide a historic guide to that, done in an easy way, and then people can use that and do their own research from that. They need very little maintenance. All you need to do is look at what the governments are doing. Are they really stimulating the economy in a organic way, or are they force feeding it?
Okay, so you meet Joe Tupac at a bar, and you meet these people all the time. How many of them, when you meet face to face, can you really realistically convince that this time really is different, that the government doesn't have your best interest at heart, that these zombie banks are going to destroy the economic landscape of the planet? How many people, David, can you personally connect with, or have you connected with, and convince them that what they believed was actually wrong?
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get through as many as I would like yet. It's hard because you're trying to explain derivatives to somebody, for example, and although I have a relatively good explanation, there's a lot more to it than something you can get across in one or two sentences. So what I like to say often is it's like a hall of mirrors. There's $1 present in the hall of mirrors, yet the bankers are able to use those reflections of that $1 and make hundreds of dollars off of it. And that's just an example. But I believe that they may have to go through pain before they start to wake up. Often when I look at my book sales on Amazon, I'm finding that the Canadian sales are not nearly as good as the American sales. So I feel that the American economy being what it is right now, people are looking there, looking for answers. And the Canadian economy seems to be better right now, even though this is a worldwide problem. Once the Canadian economy begins to sink, then they'll start searching for answers.
Mm-hmm. So it is a challenge to get people to believe what you're saying, to convince them that what they're seeing, what you're seeing, isn't what's really there, and that history is on your side, not their side. And if they don't get their ducks lined up in a row, if you're not prepared for what's going to happen, you're really going to be in problem. And what do you think exactly, David, is going to be the net result of all this money printing and reckless Keynesian stimulative economics that at best don't work and at worst can be really harmful?
Well, it is a worldwide problem, so it will affect much of the world. Now, in the best case scenario, we're going to experience very high inflation. In a worst case scenario, I'm really unsure as to what will happen, but I suggest a few things. And the most important is that you have real assets. If all of your money is in paper, I assure you, you're going to have problems. You need gold and silver primarily. Even junk silver is a great investment. You never know what will happen. It's not that it is 100% guaranteed, but you need to be prepared. You should be prepared for any possible problem that we could face. So gold and silver is something that I highly recommend. And there's no reason why you can't buy a little bit here and there. Junk silver, you can get no problem.
Mm-hmm. And so you got your gold and silver, and what you're saying is there's no telling what's going to happen here because it's so unstable and nobody can really tell. Nobody can predict the future. So what else do you want to have besides gold and silver? Any other preparations to be made here?
Well, I do recommend a storable food supply as well, because the food supply could vanish at any moment. I've read countless times that the food supply in our grocery stores is about 3 to 4 days worth. And of course, with oil prices always on the brink of a sudden spike upwards, that would affect the price of food. So if you buy a storable food supply now, you guarantee it at the price today. So definitely, even if nothing bad were to ever happen, a storable food supply is excellent to ensure your security for you and your family.
Yeah, it sounds like it makes a lot of sense because you don't know. And even if the economy doesn't collapse, there's any number of natural disasters that can occur. Just ask the people in New Orleans when Katrina hit, and boy, would it have been nice to have your little backup food supply so that you don't have to be panicking of where your next meal is coming from, right?
That's correct. We can't rely and take advantage of the things that we have every day. We need to be prepared, and we cannot rely on the government to be there for us at all times. Because, as you just mentioned, the people in New Orleans learned it the hard way. They had to rely on the government to rescue them, and that was an absolute disaster.
Oh, yeah, we know the history of that. That's for sure. So any other advice that you have if you're looking to prepare or at least position yourself so that not only will you not be wiped out, but maybe you can increase your wealth a bit? Is there anything else you can do to get ready for that time? I'm
personally out of all paper assets right now. I no longer own any paper. I own only physical assets. That's all. The time where paper assets will be valuable will come. But right now, it is just way too risky. I'm not willing to risk my savings on a paper investment right now. So I believe that investing in any sort of real asset, whatever that may be, gold, silver, land, will maintain value. And if high inflation comes our way, which it should, they will at least increase nominally. And then with that nominal increase, you'll still be able to afford your food and shelter.
Yeah, well, on the financialsurvivalnetwork.com, we're always pushing being prepared, having a plan, being ready, because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's why we've got a financial survival toolkit that gives you things to do. So if and when the worst possible scenario happens, you might have a fighting chance. But obviously your book is a great tool as well to help people get their priorities set and let them understand that the world is changing and that they haven't been well served by the government. The government is telling everybody, they're peddling rosy scenarios, that employment's up, GDP is up, everything is hunky-dory, all the hopey-changey is just working out exactly the way it's supposed to. But you're really doing a service, because the more people that get up on the rooftop and on the church steeple, as it were, and gets that message out, hopefully the more people will wake up to what's really going on. And David, we got to wrap up, but for people who want to learn more about you, your book, perhaps purchase it, where would they find you?
Well, my website is themoneygps.com. And at that site, I have a free version of my book. It's basically my entire book condensed down to 40 pages. And if they like it, they can then go to Amazon and they can purchase it there.
All right, David. Well, we wish you the best of luck with the book. It certainly is needed. I mean, that space is starting to get crowded with titles, but the number of people who are aware and have a clue, it's going up, but I wouldn't say it's going up as quickly as the money supply, would you?
That's definitely correct.
All right, we'll have you on again soon. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.